Hello, everybody. Come join me in the woods. We are what are we on? 21, 2, 3, 4, 25. Day 25. Day 25 of Lent. Day 25 of no food, no solid food. And I thought this would be a really good video just to address some of the comments and the questions that have come in. We've had some really fantastic questions, some really funny ones and very kind of human questions like, do you still poop? And I'm like, actually, yeah, there is still stuff coming out of my body. So just to get that in the first 30 seconds, there you go. It's amazing what the body has stored in the intestines. And we think that it clears very quickly, and it really doesn't. So there is still stuff that moves through, and it's normal, every maybe 2 or 3 days now. So it's not every day. But my body is still releasing from the intestines, small, large, and colon, which is really cool. So I'm going to try and remember the questions that we've had so far. Dr. Mindy, I absolutely adore Dr. Mindy. She is great when it comes to fasting. She was a great support for me a few years ago with her videos when I was starting to do long dry fast and breatharian initiation. So when I did my first kind of longer dry fast, it was for 4 days. And I've done a few of these. I used to do them every 3 months or so with a beautiful group called the Pranic Family, who I think they might have changed their name now. But they're a charitable organization who they're incredible. And they used to do dry fast for 3.5 days or longer if you wanted to. And the reason why we did 3.5 days, specifically, no food, no water. And I'm just going to kind of preface this a little bit. I will get onto the topic and the questions about nourishment. What is nourishment food? How to maintain life, really, because I am just going to say this. If you starve yourself, if you starve a human, the human will die, right? So you need to understand that there are more forms of nourishment than just physical food. And this is what people get really stuck on in today's world, especially in the Western world. We are so conditioned, so groomed, so hypnotized, and all theoretical as well. We parrot everything that one another says rather than actually experiencing it. So I do have a lot of patience for those types of questions and comments, but I'll get into those afterwards. So Dr. Mindy, she says about when to do a fast and maybe not to do it near your cycle if you're a female. And my experience is I would agree with that. I would agree with that to the majority, or for the majority of people. But the only reason I would say that is because most people in the Western world are not balanced in their yin and yang. And this is something that I've learned from doing Shaolin and Meihua. I've learned this from Shifu and traditional Chinese medicine. And you have different levels of qi, right? So when you're born, between the ages of like 0 and 10, like you can expend so much yang qi. It can just be pure yang qi. And then every 10 years thereabouts, your qi kind of switches between, like, it goes down in yang. So it goes down to like 90% yang and 10% yin. Then when you get to like 20 to 30, you need 20% yin. And what that means is like meditation, qigong, tai chi. You need the things that are going to nourish your body, that are going to open up the meridians, that are going to allow flow. Because the thing is that the body is made up of resistance. That's why we're physical. And the more that we heal the physical body, so the more that we heal the fractures in our psyche, the nervous system, the more that we process our emotions, the more that we know how to regulate, self-regulate, the more that we do these things, we are healing our body. We are making it clearer for energy to pass through us, for energy to absorb into us. When we are in a world that promotes shaming people and where we've got a lot of unprocessed anger and many other things, the body is so full of resistance that you're going to probably need a lot of numbing agents. For some people that's drink, for some that's drugs, sex, work, alcohol, whatever it might be. For all of us, it's food. Food is a sedation. Food numbs us. Food stops us feeling. Everyone really is an emotional eater, and there's so much codependency there. But to get back to the original question, and the original thing about yin and yang, is that if you're going to fast and you're going to fast properly, and whether you choose to call it a fast or not, that's completely up to you. We went through a phase of not calling it fasting because that promoted the idea that you're starving yourself, and that's not really what it is that I'm doing. Even though I am limiting a form of food, I'm limiting the physical form, it doesn't mean to say we can't get it from elsewhere. The air is full. You think this is empty? You think this air is empty? It's not empty. It's got everything in it. The whole universe is in the air. It is that which builds up everything else that we see here, right? So when it comes down to your hormones and female as a cycle, the only reason that I would disagree with Dr. Mindy on that point is because I've experienced something very different. I've always fasted around my cycle. I've always had the best bleeds. They've always been the easiest, the best, my body's been happiest when I've been fasting around my bleed. And she would say the opposite. And there is going to be so many studies that will validate either truth, depending on what you're looking for. And that's how truth is formed. Truth is formed by validation of what it is that you're seeking. If you look for what you're seeking, well, that doesn't make sense. Whatever you're seeking, you will find evidence of, because that's the way this universe is built. So you can have scientist number 1 here, scientist number 2 here. Both of them can be looking in the opposite direction, really wanting to find evidence to support their theory, and they will find it. They will find it. There'll be other truths, but two truths can be truth at the same time, you know? And so for some people, yeah, if you did go without solid food, you would probably do yourself a lot of damage because you're not balancing your body. You're not practicing the medicine that your body needs, the movement that your body needs. You're not resting when you need it. You're not listening to your body. You don't know it well enough. We don't regulate it enough. We haven't processed any of the emotions, because this is the thing. You stop eating food, you're going to feel. Now, if you can't self-regulate, now you're in trouble. And that's when people have really challenging experiences. And for some, they need that challenging experience. They need it to be that intense in order to actually change something about them. But I would say that when it comes to a female doing any type of fasting, like I chose to stop dry fasting early when it came to my bleed, so my bleed would stop. So I did 2 days dry. I was going to do 3, and then I was like, actually, my body really needs to bleed. It really wants to bleed, so I'm going to drink something instead of dry fasting for a 3rd day. But that's choice, and that's a powerful choice, and that's choice based in love. If you're fasting and you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're doing it for fear, for body dysmorphia, for hating yourself, for if you're doing it to try and change something, you feel like you're too overweight, you feel like this. If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, your body's going to struggle with it because you're not building trust with yourself. And that's really what this is about. You're building trust with yourself. You're releasing codependency. When you are codependent with food, that means you feel a craving and you're going to eat that. But is it actually a craving, or is it an addiction? Are you actually hungry, or is it an addiction? Is it hunger, or is it an addiction? And until you actually take something out that you feel like you might really want, you're not going to know that. Until you try it, you're not going to know that. Anyone that comments, and this does tend to happen, we get comments around 3 weeks, because now we're facing a collective shadow. So first collective shadow that we have is when you dry fast for 3 days. People think you're going to die without water for 3 days. You're not. Well, you could do, but you won't do if you're nourishing yourself through pranic exercises, through yoga, through qigong, tai chi. You're doing those ancient medicines. You're meditating. You're moving your body. This is big. The body has to and wants to move. You have all this energy. If you're not using the energy, then it's going to just implode within you. So you have to use the energy. You have to move, But yeah, then we have this other collective shadow, don't we? Where we think that if we don't eat for 3 weeks, we're going to die. Oh, no food for 3 weeks. We're going to die. Also not true. Western medicine is really relatively young, right? And yet that is how we are so conditioned to think, like whatever has been broadcast to us over the past 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years. And most of us are going to be too arrogant, oblivious, obnoxious, whatever, ignorant, really. I'm just ignorant. We're going to be too ignorant to have the courage to potentially be wrong, or to potentially not know, because it brings up a lot of emotion, right? Especially when the ego hasn't really broken yet. Especially when the ego that's been formed, those characteristics that we have, those truths that we've adopted, haven't either been challenged, or if they have, we haven't had the courage to follow it through and just to kind of go, okay, well, maybe just maybe I wasn't 100% true about this. Maybe this wasn't 100% accurate. Maybe I adopted a truth, I believed it so much but now I'm learning something different. It's okay to have something different. It's okay to have a different truth. It's okay to be continually learning and exploring, and it's okay for your truths to change. They're meant to. We are continually expanding. But yeah, we are going to be near 4 weeks. I'm just a couple of days from the 4 week mark. I'm really, really loving it. It is eclipse time. It's an eclipse day today. Happy eclipse, everyone. I can feel the energy in the air. I can feel it within myself. So I'm making sure that I get out into nature at the start of the day, because that's what my body needs. That's what my mind needs. That's what my soul, my emotions, my mental, everything. That's what all of me needs. All of the vessel that I am in needs that. And rightly said by someone in the comments, your soul might need this, but your body needs another thing. Absolutely. But that's the purpose of fasting, is to also help your body remember how powerful it is. Help your body remember what it can do. This video series isn't here to convince anyone of anything. I'm not selling you anything, This is because there are people out there, especially some of my clients as well, that want to connect with themselves on a deeper level, want to love themselves rather than hate themselves, want to learn what the body can do, want to see it in action. And sometimes we need someone else to pave the way, to inspire us. So for those of you that have started watching midway through, that haven't watched any of the videos, that are just kind of going, it's not true, you're speaking bull or whatever, that's fair, you're entitled to your opinion. But what a waste of energy and time if you're going to come onto a video halfway through, not watch any of the others, not listen properly, and just share a load of frustration. Learn something here. Get curious. And see if you can find evidence to validate what I'm saying. Because if you are so sure in your truth, then finding evidence to validate mine shouldn't be a problem, right? It shouldn't be triggering. You have nothing to worry about. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful what the body can do when it's not wasting 80% of its energy digesting solid food. And there are some people out there that are full-blown breatharians, living without food and liquids, living off prana. But let me tell you something, every single day they have their breakfast. Their breakfast is qigong. They have their snack, it's meditation. They have their lunch, it's a laughter lunch. They do their sports, they do their exercise. They're out in nature all the time. They're living the life they want to live, free, not codependently attached to anything. Just food for thought. So I hope you've enjoyed little rambling in the woods. Hope it's offered some really interesting perspective. And if it doesn't, you don't have to watch the videos. But I will see you next week at some point for when we go into week 5, when we conclude week 4. And I hope you have a beautiful eclipse weekend, and send you all so much love. Thank you for being here. And I hope you enjoy the sunlight. Get out in the sun today. Get out into nature. Move your body. Kickboxing last night was so good. It's like, I've not stopped training. Don't stop training. The body needs to move. The body needs to experience and release the energy that the liver's storing, that the spleen's storing. The body needs to move the energy through the meridians. So I train Shaolin. I train kickboxing. I do qigong. Do acrobatics. I get out into nature. Go for runs. Just get out. Do something. Let your body and your mind build a relationship that's indestructible. Let your body and mind become so solid of a partnership that your soul can thrive. See y'all later.